Welcome, everyone. Thank you for watching the Full Count Show, SportsMemo TV. Does this show for us Monday through Friday. I host it 2 days a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I'm a guest on a couple others, just like my good friends and pals, Eric Pauly and Jesse Schule of SportsMemo.com. Eric Pauly is in his 7th day as a professional handicapper on the site of SportsMemo.com. Jesse, do you remember way back when, like when, 40 years ago when you first went through your first week?
Oh, it's been an absolute blast. It really has been.
Yeah, we had to use a thing called a phone with the touch things on it to call our clients to get the picks to them back in my first week 27 years ago.
The 1-800 numbers and
Yeah.
advertisements in magazines.
Yep. I tried a 900 number too for I think it was a month, and I realized that was not me. I wasn't like in the movie Two for the Money. I was not that. That just didn't work for me. But anyway, welcome to the show. We got a couple games here on a rather short card. We got the Phillies playing now, and a few other games that we can touch upon with some live in-game betting ideas, hopefully. But let's start out with the first game here, and that is the Arizona Diamondbacks are playing the Chicago Cubs. Very interesting matchup. Arizona's 5th in the National League West. They have Zach Gallen on the hill. I can tell you guys right now that I like the prop bet over 5.5 strikeouts, -110 for Zach Gallen with pizza money size bet. And Marcus Stroman, 1-3, ERA 5.13. Boy, I remember when that guy pitched a couple years ago, and the record was a lot different. It was more like 3-1 with a 1.35 ERA instead of what he's doing here with the Cubs. Cubs are 4th in the National League Central. They really weren't predicted to be a contender in the first place, but they're a miserable 6-12 at home. But they're a slight favorite of -126, Jesse Schule. Why don't you tell us where you think the best bet is in this matchup for tonight?
Well, Cubs are just 6-12 at home. Arizona, not that much better, but they are 8-10 on the road. You mentioned Stroman. I believe we did have a conversation about Stroman earlier this season on this show. And I had said that Stroman's problem isn't his talent. He's got plenty of that. What he lacks is the mental aspect, what he's got going on upstairs. He gets rattled easily. And he did toss 7 scoreless innings in a win over Milwaukee in his last start. But prior to that, he'd been rocked in a string of losses. And he's not consistent, and anything rattles him, and he loses it quite quickly. And you mentioned Zach Gallen on the other side, 2-0, 1.05 ERA. He's only allowed 4 runs in 6 starts. He's got 35 strikeouts in 34 innings. It just looks like a lot of value on Arizona here on the road as an underdog against a team that has fewer home wins than they do road wins. They got the better pitcher. I'm leaning towards the underdog here.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jesse. I think the wrong team is favored in this matchup for sure, especially when you look at those starting pitchers. What do you have for us, Eric Pauly?
Yeah,
welcome to Sports Memo, by the way. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, thank you so much, John. I really appreciate it, especially coming from somebody like you who's been around the block for so long. And
I think he was trying to say that I'm really old.
I'm trying to say that you're a seasoned veteran, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Thank you.
But going back to again having who's favored in this game, and why are the Cubs favored? This morning, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, when I was going through this game for knowing I was covering it for this show, and I actually did find some value in this game for my clients, part of my 3% package today. The Arizona Diamondbacks opened as -120 road favorites, and now a few hours later are underdogs, and the Chicago Cubs are -122 road favorites. I'm not sure exactly what led to that line movement. I, asked Jesse and John if they saw any pitching changes come, because that's a very, very distinguishable, difference to happen for a single game over the course of a couple of hours, going from -120 favorites to completely swapping the other way. So I'm very interested to see how this game ends up playing out. But you look at Arizona, and they're 3-7 in their last 10 and on a 6-game losing streak. They played the Cubbies just a couple of days ago from May 13th to 15th, and they lost 2 of those 3 games. The Diamondbacks are really kind of abysmal at the plate. They're batting .207 and slugging just .356. But with Zach Gallen on the hill, that's their best bet every time he steps out there. Last time I played Chicago on the 14th, Gallen allowed just 1 run on 2 hits in 6 innings. Was able to strike out 9 batters and only walk 1. And their bullpen actually ended up blowing that game at the top of the 9th inning. So Gallen certainly gives Arizona their best chances to win this game. But something interesting I want to know on the Cubs, I certainly agree with everything that Jesse was mentioning about Stroman and his makeup and how he's kind of been on a downhill decline the last couple of years. But looking at the Cubs as a team, against only the Pittsburgh Pirates this season, they have a plus 30 run differential, have a 777 OPS, and a 2.28 team ERA. Against everybody else in the league, they have a minus 25 run differential, a 652 on base plus slugging, and a team ERA of 4.33. So when the Cubs are not playing the Pirates, they're very susceptible to losing. And for that, again, I do agree on the Diamondbacks for this game.
That's awesome. Yeah, I agree with you. If they're not playing the Pirates, and they're a fade. But in the pitching matchup, I just wanted to add Zach Gallen, average exit velocity is outstanding at only 85.8 miles per hour. Only 30.6% of the pitches thrown are hard hit. His expected weighted on base percentage is 234, which is extremely low, one of the best in the league. Walk percentage is just 3.9%. And he's striking out 27 guys, which is kind of average in terms of the better pitchers in the league. But still, when you compare everything together, that looks pretty solid to me. Also, Stroman, emotionally, can be a train wreck on one pitch, as Jesse Schule alluded to. It takes one pitch to get him literally off the rails. And when you lose your temper and you lose your cool and your focus, I mean, we see what happens, and it's never good. He does keep the ball down in the zone, and when he does, he's effective. He has an average launch angle of just 10 degrees, but exit velocity, guys, 92.5 miles per hour. That means there's a lot of guys at the plate. Even the 7, 8, and 9 hitters are barreling him up, and I don't think this is going to be a very good result for Marcus. And I'm confused why the line is going, from a favorite to now the Cubs a home favorite. Makes no sense to me. Sometimes that does point us to the line movement. But I'm clearly here on Arizona, boxed with Zach Gallen. Good stuff, guys. Let's move on to our next game. And that's why I'm at Fenway again. 7:10 tonight, Fenway Park in Boston. Seattle Mariners, 4th in the American League West, are going to take on the Boston Red Sox, who are also 4th in their own division, the notoriously, ridiculously tough American League East. So if you're in 4th place in the American League East, you could easily be a division leader or contender in any one of the other 5 divisions of Major League Baseball, in my humble opinion. Rich Hill's on the mound for the Red Sox, 1-1 in the season, ERA 2.89, looks pretty good of late. Red Sox are an amazing 7 games under 500. I thought they would be 500, to be honest with you, but they're only 6-10 at home, which has not been their trend for the better part of 20 seasons. So Seattle, 8-14 on the road. They have George Kirby on the hill, ERA of 0.9. Hasn't made that many starts, if I remember correctly, but I'm sure Jesse Schule can take over here and tell us all about that young pitcher that's on the hill for Seattle.
All right. Well, George Kirby, Seattle, like you said, a 0.90 ERA in 2 starts. He's only had the 2 outings. He tossed 7 scoreless innings in his season debut, but then he got roughed up a little bit, 3 runs on 3 hits in 4 innings against the Mets in his second start. So, he's a young guy. It's difficult to know what to expect from him, but the guy on the other side is 42 years old, Rich Hill, 1-1, 2.89 ERA over 6 starts. Bigger sample size, of course, at 42 years old. We've seen plenty of Rich Hill. We know what to expect from him. The Red Sox are 13 games behind the Yankees in the AL East, but they've won their last 2 series against Houston and Texas, taking 2 out of 3 games in both those series. The Mariners stink on the road. They're 8-14 on the road. And, small price. I'll take Boston as a home favorite here.
That's good stuff, Jesse. I'm leaning that way already. Let's see what Eric Pauly has in this matchup.
Yeah, so I was already on Boston this morning. It was one of the columns I wrote for Sports Memo. I still put out some of that free written content as well as my packages. And I had Boston at minus 130 at the time, and they have actually come down now to minus 120 favorites. So yeah, I'm a little interested. I kind of expected that line to go closer to Boston minus 140, minus 150, but it actually came down as smaller favorites. And normally that might be a little bit of a warning sign, a red flag, but no, I still certainly like Boston, that minus 120 money line. The Mariners have won 2 of their last 5 and are 5-5 in their last 10 and have been outscored by opponents by 11 runs over that 10-game stretch. George Kirby had a great debut this season in his first start. Like Jesse mentioned, he got roughed up by the Mets a little bit. He had 7 strikeouts in his first start, but only 1 against the Mets in that last start. So Kirby's still trying to figure out what kind of pitcher he is himself and how he can, develop and ideally have a career as long as his opponent tonight, Rich Hill. But Boston's playing a little bit better recently. They're 5-5 in their last 10, but they're have a plus run differential over the last 10 games of 6 runs. And Rich Hill's last start against the Rangers, he went 6 innings, allowing just 2 runs on 7 hits. And over his previous 4 starts before that, he did not let it be a single run. Seattle's kind of abysmal against lefties. Their OPS is 655 this season when facing left-handed batters. I'm going to go again with the experience on the hill with Boston and take the Red Sox as a small road home favorite on the minus 120 money line.
Good stuff, Eric. I'll tell you guys one thing. With Eric Hill, he may be 42 years old, and wouldn't it be tempting to say Rich over the hill? That's not funny either. But seriously, he has at age 42 Tom Brady-like statistics, at least with his performance measures, maybe not trophies, but his spin rate on his curveball is one of the best in the majors. And that's what creates that late 12-6, hard to hit, impossible to hit breaking pitch. And his slider is upwards of 2,500 RPMs as well. So he may not throw 150 miles an hour like most of the guys in Major League Baseball now, but he has that spin rate that gets guys off balance. And there's nothing better than watching him pitch, and he's going for that, aiming for that back foot of the hitter. And that is honestly what these pitchers do. They sometimes will aim not intentionally to hit somebody, but that way they know that if they hit that mark, the catcher, number one, is going to catch it. And to a left-handed batter, it's going to be diving deep and in on the hands and makes it very hard to hit. So I do like this situation. Seattle, by the way, is 3rd worst exit velocity batting team in the majors, only 87 miles an hour. Just think if they had Stanton on that team, they'd probably be up to 4th just with him on the team. But he's not. Last I checked, he's with the Yankees. Seattle's bats are anemic at best. I like Boston here with you guys. Our last game is another interesting little matchup here. It's the Texas Rangers playing the Houston Astros, Minute Maid Park, 8:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on Thursday. A name I like to say, Framber Valdez is pitching for Houston. 2-2 ERA, 2.92. The Astros, seems like light years ago, they looked like they were struggling. They were a couple games under 500. Dusty Baker tweaked the lineup a little bit until Altuve was able to come back. And lo and behold, they're first in the American League West, 10 games over 500. But guys, I'm going to start this one off, I think. They're coming off a game where they had 2 hits and they scored 1 run. This is one of the best offenses in Major League Baseball. And whenever you have a team like this that's coming off a dreadful, and for their standards, maybe for Seattle, that would be a decent result. Probably not. But for Houston, it's dreadful. And these elite teams will come back the next night with a greater focus, and they generally will score a lot more runs than they did in the previous games. So I actually like Houston on the run line here. And after you guys break down the game, I'll provide a betting system that is pretty outstanding that supports, the bet on the run line. So let's turn it over to Eric first here for this matchup and see if he agrees or if he has a completely different angle for us to listen to.
Yeah, so for this matchup, I'm a big fan of Framber Valdez. It's his 8th start of the season. He's gone 40 innings over those 7 previous starts, allowing just 13 earned runs, 30 hits and 17 walks. So he is allowing a little bit too many base runners for my liking, but he's doing a great job of minimizing the damage when he does have a lot of runners on base. 32 strikeouts over those 40 innings, so it's not like he's a power pitcher looking for the punch out. He just is looking to, get some people to roll ground to a double play or turn a couple of walks to start the inning and tries to just minimize that damage. He pitched against the Rangers on April the 25th, and he went 6 innings, allowing no runs, 4 hits, 2 walks, and 5 Ks over those 6 innings. So Texas has seen Valdez, and Houston has also seen Glenn Otto, who's making the start for Texas. So this is Otto's 5th start of the season, and through those 4 starts, he's got 18.1 innings, allowing 13 runs on 16 hits and 10 walks. So again, he does have a base runner problem himself. Houston is 751 OPS versus righties this season, which is the 4th best in the MLB. And the last time he played Houston, he let up only 2 runs and 4 hits over 4.1 innings, and the Astros struck out 5 times. But now that they know what they're seeing from Glenn Otto, I think that, like you mentioned, John, that Houston's going to be coming to swing the bat a little bit more, looking to really put the hammer on them based on how they've been playing lately. So my favorite bet for this game is actually on the over of 8 runs. I think Houston may be able to get that themselves. And if the Rangers want to chip in with a run or two, they certainly can. But I'm on the over for this game.
I think that's an excellent side to be on. Team total over 2, probably.
I was sticking to the traditional total set. I did
game
not
over.
look at the team total. Just the game over. Yes.
Jesse Schule, do you agree with us, or do you have a different way of looking at this game for our viewers to consider betting?
Agreed yet, but I hate to tell you that I can't disagree with anything you guys said. Everything you guys said is what I got written down in front of me. If I was going to put this out as a premium pick, I'd call it my Texas Chainsaw Massacre for 2 reasons. That's just what I call a premium pick involving a team from Texas. And it does look like it's going to be a massacre. Houston won 11 straight games. Then they went out and lost 3 of their last 5. Looks like a great spot for them, though, opening a home series versus the Rangers. Glenn Otto trending in the wrong direction, gave up 8 runs on 8 hits, 4 walks, and 2 home runs in just 4 innings in his last start against Boston. And, he got off to a reasonable start, and it's just getting worse and worse and worse for him. I wouldn't expect him to do too well against the Astros here. So Astros on the run line was what I was going to put out here.
I'm with you on the run line. And I'll tell you, here's the betting system. And this is a good one, guys. So get your pencils out and jot this little baby down, because it's like an ATM. And all you have to do is follow it and track it, and it's very easy. So you're going to identify home favorites that are outscoring their opponents by at least a run per game on the season, which the Astros obviously are. And they're coming off a game scoring 1 or no runs. Also playing the home favorite with a -1.5 run line that ranges with juice between -120 and +120. So anything in between there qualifies for the -1.5 run line. That together has gone 38-14, 73% winners over the last 5 seasons alone, without a single season losing record among those 5. So regardless of what the outcome is tonight, this system makes money season after season after season. So if it would lose tonight, don't give up on it, because this is an ATM type betting system. So that takes care of our unanimous decision on the Houston Chainsaw Massacre. That doesn't sound right. That movie was
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, but Texas isn't going to do anything against Houston tonight, so they're not the ones with the chainsaws, are they?
Houston's also in Texas, John.
Yeah, well, Houston's the one that's going to chainsaw the Texas Rangers, I thought.
The Massacre is going to be in Texas between 2 teams that are based in Texas.
Eric, I make things so complicated sometimes. It's worse than anything you can imagine. But let's move on to our best bets for the show. And we are allowed to venture out into the other games, but we're on a short Thursday card, and I don't think there's really too many places to venture out. I'll start out here. My Zach Gallen over 5.5 strikeouts. I like even more after listening to these guys. I wouldn't be surprised. Well, it doesn't matter. If he gets 6 strikeouts, you win. It doesn't matter if he has 11. But I wouldn't be surprised if he has double digits, to be honest. And I also like Chas McCormick of the Houston Astros, plus 400 to hit a home run in that Texas Chainsaw Massacre game that Jesse Schule
There you go, John.
so eloquently broke down for us. And also, I'm on the -1.5 run line for a show best bet. It's also a premium best bet, so there you go. I like that play quite a bit. Let's see what Jesse has for us. and we'll have Eric bring up the anchor.
Well, I'm going back to that Cubs game. I think Eric mentioned that Gallen had an outstanding start against the Cubs not too long ago, but the Arizona bullpen blew the game and they ended up losing. And it's for that reason why I'm going to lean on Arizona for the first 5 innings here. I think it's just such a mismatch with the 2 starting pitchers. Worst case scenario I see here is maybe it's a low scoring game and we're tied after 5 innings. And I like the chances of Arizona jumping out to a lead and Gallen holding it for them through at least 5 innings. So Arizona first 5 innings for me.
I like it quite a bit. I like it quite. And if Cubs score first, folks, there is live in-game betting, and I love doing that. 50% pre-flop, and then if the opponent scores first, boy, I'm adding to it, but never more than my normal bet size. That's the key. You can't get crazy with this stuff, especially in the NBA. Before you know, you have a bet that's $1,000 of risk, and your average bet size is 100. So you got to be really careful with that kind of stuff. Eric, Pauly, what is your best bet for the show today?
Yeah, of course. So at first glance, like I said, when I was doing my research this morning, and the Diamondbacks opened at -120, and the Cubs were home underdogs at +100 even odds. I was leaning toward Arizona at that point on the money line. But now that the way that the line has completely shifted to the Cubs being -122 favorites and the Arizona Diamondbacks being underdogs, I'm actually going to stay away from that one. And my best bet is going to be on the Boston Red Sox on the money line. -120, so we're not paying much vig at all for, in my opinion, a much better team to take a win against a much worse team. Boston has more to prove. Seattle came off a big win against Tampa Bay yesterday. The Seahawks are, the Mariners are also in the midst of a long road stretch, and after this series, they go back home to Seattle after the last 2 series being away. So I think they're kind of going to be looking forward to wrapping this whole thing up. And Boston has something to prove. So Red Sox on the money line -120 today.
I like it. Before I let you guys go, I want you to tell us what you have going over at Sports Memo. I'm still running pretty darn hot in the NBA. I had side and total 4%ers both hit last night. I'm 27-11, 71% the last, 38 best bets. 16-4 in totals in the NBA for 80%. I have a 4% total going tonight in game 2 of the Miami Heat Boston Celtics game. So I highly recommend you get over there and get it at a discounted price. Eric, what do you have going on at sportsmemo.com for us?
Yeah, so I have a 3-pack of 3% MLB winners going on today. All of those bets are focused on 2 of these 3 games that we spoke about today. I did not divulge my best bet, any of them that would be for clients in the package. So take a look at that because that's where I found the most value. I'm on an 11-5 run over the last 7 days in the MLB, which is 69% run. So I'm having a blast being able to put out this content on Sports Memo. I'm having a great time interacting with my clients and giving them things to look forward to, and of course, picking winners.
Yeah, nothing better than looking forward to giving winners to the clients. That's for sure. Jesse Schule, what do you got going on? Because I know you're running pretty darn hot in many sports.
John, I was running so hot. It was just like every day was another stack of winning plays. And the last couple days, I've slowed down a little. Let's be honest. I've struggled the last couple days. I got what's that?
I said it could be age.
Be age. But I do have an early baseball play right now. I'm looking at it. I got over 4.5 runs, first 5 innings in the White Sox Royals. Scores 4-1. That looks good for me in the 4th inning. And tonight I do have a play on the NBA and 2 NHL plays. And as far as hot streaks go, I am 4-0, 100% with 5-star plays in the NBA playoffs, 9-1 with 5-star plays in all sports over the last month, and 83% with 10-star plays for the year.
That's pretty outstanding. I mean, that's
pretty
like
happy
mackerel.
Tremendous.
That is good stuff. Look at that. Look at that smile too. I mean, you should be smiling.
Deserves a pat on the back.
Yeah. Good stuff, guys. That brings us to the conclusion of our MLB full count show for Thursday, May the 19th. Get over to sportsmemo.com and get the subscriptions. Get 30 days, 60, 90 days. The longer, the better is for you because it costs less per day and you're never going to miss a play. All access means whenever we load something up, you get it within seconds of us hitting that submit button. So you would never, ever miss another play. It's a great way to go. Eric and Jesse, it's the end of the show. I get sad at this time of the day, but happy hour's not that far away. So until tomorrow for another edition of the MLB Full Count Show, remember 2 things always: bet with your head, not over it, and may all the wins be yours.